After the great feast where the brothers drank and made merry, Joseph contrives a final test for loyalty and faith. He sends the brothers, all of the brothers, on their way, sacks full of grain, and, in Benjamin's case, full of trouble, because Joseph has directed his steward to place his, Joseph's own chalice, in Benjamin's sack. They've not gone far when, acting upon Joseph's explicit instructions, the steward arrives to search for the chalice, which he openly accuses the brothers of stealing. The steward, who had previously been so gracious about the mysterious money in their sacks, now says ominously, "Why have you repaid evil for good?" Again, they deny this false accusation. "God forbid," they say. They go so far as to bet their lives, and Benjamin's, on his not finding the chalice among their things. But of course, it is found in Benjamin's sack. They are dragged back before Joseph. They bow before him yet again, and Judah pleads with him in a telling way. "How can we clear ourselves? God has found out the guilt of your servants." Judah offers that all the brothers should become Joseph's slaves. Though unjustly accused, previously of spying and now of theft, Judah recognizes that in a larger sense they are guilty and deserve their punishment. In the words of one Jewish scholar, according to a higher order, an exact relationship exists between their distress and their crimes. They acknowledge that the men who act against them are only tools of a higher judgment. God is the true judge. Indeed, Joseph and God through him are employing the brothers' own methods against them. Iniquity is employed to punish them for their own long-ago iniquity, or at least Joseph has arranged for that to appear to be the case. Joseph has steadily built an ominous sense of the divine surrounding his interactions with his brothers. He declares he will allow them to prove their honesty because he himself fears God. He has his steward restow their money in their sacks, and when they discover this, their hearts fail them, and they tremble. He has his steward attribute the appearance of the money in their sacks to God. He amazingly seats the brothers at the feast in their order of age. Thus do the brothers begin to sense that they have been found out by God and to feel the weight of God's judgment on their past. But Joseph rejects their offer of group enslavement. "Far be it from me that I should do so. Only the man in whose hand the cup was found shall be my slave." That is to say, Benjamin alone will remain enslaved in Egypt and not return to his father. And so Joseph has placed the brothers in a position where he can judge by their actions and not mere words whether they are indeed changed, whether they will indeed show loyalty and faith to their brother and their father. In a very real sense, they are faced again with the situation they faced when they and Joseph were both young. They can sell Benjamin off to slavery in Egypt, just as they did Joseph, and return to their father with money in their pockets, as they had previously with the money they obtained upon the sale of Joseph. Now is Judah's moment. He steps forward and addresses Joseph with a long speech recounting Jacob's fears and his certain death if he should lose Benjamin. He says, "We have an aged father, and there is a young son born to him in his old age. His brother is dead. He is the only one of his mother's sons left, and his father loves him. Your servant, my father, said to us, 'You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One of them went away from me, and I said, he is surely torn to pieces, and I have not seen him since. If you take this one from me too, and harm comes to him, you will bring my gray head down to the grave in misery. If my father, whose life is closely bound up with the boy's life, sees that the boy isn't there, he will die. Your servant guaranteed the boy's safety to my father. Now, please let your servant remain here as my Lord's slave in place of the boy, and let the boy return with his brothers. Do not let me see the misery that would come on my father." So Judah offers himself in Benjamin's place, in effect to save both Jacob and Benjamin, and in such words as must have cut Joseph's heart to the quick. This is indeed the proof that Joseph sought. He then immediately reveals himself to his brothers. Perhaps we should not be surprised that Judah is the one who speaks up here. We already know that he can recognize his own guilt and do justice, though it is against his interest. We know this from his dealings with Tamar, his daughter-in-law, of whom he declared, "She is more in the right than I." And so it is Judah who finally proves that the brothers are indeed changed men, honest, without envy, and loyal. It is Judah who leads. It is Judah who puts his honor and his life on the line to save his young brother and his father. This is reminiscent of, or a foreshadowing of, Jesus' words as recounted by John. "Greater love has no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends." And, as Revelation tells us, it is the Lion of the tribe of Judah who lays down his life for us and conquers death.